Hi, I'm Mark Chasen, and I've been asked to speak about copyright in the 21st century and how technology is changing our relationship to our works in copyright, and how new technologies are also providing new opportunities to monetize our works in the 21st century. My background actually in media started when I was a composer and arranger, and when my love of music was exceeded by my hate of poverty, I became a lawyer. And as a lawyer, I did quite a bit in the area of copyright and entertainment, and later started a company called eMusic, which was the first company in history to sell digital music files online. And after we took that company public and I exited, IBM asked me to lead their digital media division in the consulting group, which I did, and got a little corporate experience from that, and then left IBM to become an entrepreneur again and started another company in the peer-to-peer space, which many in the traditional media actually hate, but I think also provides great new opportunities. And now I've taken all my interests and wrapped it in the wheel of finance with transformative capital, and we focus primarily on renewable energy and LOHAS. Well, it was kind of interesting because when we first started selling music by the song with eMusic, and we licensed it completely, we paid ASCAP and BMI and Harry Fox and the labels, and we had pure licensing deals, but the majors, and I'll remove some of the expletives from some of the conversations I had with some of the executives of the major labels, said, "Read my lips, we will never sell music by the song on the internet, and there will be bullets flying for you, you're a dead man." And the irony of it all is one of the executives came from Universal and ended up actually buying eMusic later on. So it's a pretty funny story, and I think what it is that actually copyright started after the advent of the printing press around the 18th century in Britain. And after the printers started getting a little bit of a monopoly, they influenced the king to pass a law to protect the monopoly. And over the years, it's really the purpose of copyright was to control who could copy a certain piece of work. And it worked really well in a physical world. But now we are in a digital world, and things have shifted pretty radically. And Napster, who is a pretty well-known brand, really kind of was responsible for that big shift in allowing people to freely distribute their content, or whether it was with their permission or not, but the opportunity is that they could freely distribute content, whether they owned it or not. And pretty soon, on the heels of Napster, there were dozens, if not hundreds, of other file sharing services, some of which, like Earth Station 5, was somewhere in Palestine, where copyright wasn't recognized in the Gaza Strip, and borders were changing, and we don't know what happened to that group. But suffice it to say that peer-to-peer, the internet, and digital media is here to stay. As well, what we found in the old days of traditional media, we needed the studios, we needed the record labels to produce our music or our film or our art, because quite frankly the equipment for production was very expensive. As well, distribution, prints and advertising, records were very expensive. So now, with about $5,000, you can have Final Cut Pro, a Mac, make that $10,000, and a really nice camera, and now you're in the film business. Or you have a professional recording studio. With the internet, distribution is free. So the power and the monopoly of the major labels and film studios has been somewhat marginalized in this digital world. We've also seen the advent of the PVR, personal video recorder, sometimes known as a DVR, or digital video recorder, such as TiVo or Replay TV. And these devices, as many of you know and many of you use, allow you to time shift. And this time shifting was approved as being legal in the Sony Betamax case, where the Supreme Court said that as long as the technology has non-infringing uses and is used for copying and time shifting, then such a use is legal. Well, seizing on that, the TiVos and the replay TVs and other PVR manufacturers now have put a unit in the market that allows you to digitally record and fast forward through commercials. And this has really changed much of the economics of television. So what we're seeing now is, rather than people watching through commercials because they're held hostage, they skip through commercials. Then it becomes very difficult for new television productions to be monetized, and advertisers are leaving radio and television mediums and looking for more interactive mediums where they have immediate feedback, such as the internet. On top of that, we have another play and influence, which is convergence. More and more, the lines are being blurred between internet and interactivity, and things like our cell phones, our televisions, and our cars, and our homes. So what we see in the future is distribution being free, production being cheap, an overload of content, and the ability for people to fast forward through commercials. So what does that leave us with in the future as a way to monetize our media? And having been involved in digital media for about 12 years, I've racked my brain with coming up with some of these solutions. And actually it was interesting because in the early days of e-music, I was selling CDs, and a couple of my competitors went public and raised $100 million and completely commoditized the CD space. And they started spending money like fiends in acquiring their customers, and I realized that I'd make more money in advertising than I would in selling CDs. Advertising, in fact, kind of has been around for a long time, or I should say sponsorship has been around for a long time. It used to be that actors in a play or composers, arrangers, and musicians were sponsored by either a church or king. Today's churches and kings are the corporations, and they want to reach an audience. So the value of a brand is really its ability to attract a crowd and reach an audience. One other area where we can generate money is live events, because live events cannot be digitized. And it's kind of interesting to see the shifts in copyright from these reproducible digital units now to more toward going toward experiences. And for example, when we look at live events, we look at people going to the theater to see a movie. And at the time that video was released, the Motion Picture Association of America and Jack Valenti compared video to Jack the Ripper. Kind of a harsh analogy, considering that video later became the tail that wagged the dog and made more money for the film industry than did theatrical release. So what we've seen over the years is a reluctance to embrace new technologies by the media industry. We saw this happen in the early days when the publishers fought records, and then when the record labels fought radio, and when the publishers fought photocopying, when the networks fought the VCR. So it's very interesting to see over the years how media has continually fought against new technologies, yet when they embraced it, they made more money than they ever thought imaginable from their old traditional media. I mean, we take a look at the music industry now. The music industry in about 2000 was a $50 billion a year industry, which has now declined to about $10 billion a year. If they would have embraced Napster and worked with Napster and charged everybody $5 a month, Napster probably would have had about 200 million people right now downloading a buffet of music, and they would have been making something in the neighborhood of $1 billion a month just from Napster. So it's just amazing to me to see how the reluctance has crippled the industry.